Don't blink, it's your blink. Welcome to Villa Cousin Show. Hope you guys are doing well, because I'm having a wonderful day on this 2nd of October. Technically the 3rd, but it's 1:55 a.m., so I'm gonna call it the second one. Now, first of all, let's just show you. Beautiful. How beautiful is this? Then you see this single star, but it's a plane. It's nice, huh? As you saw by the title, by the video, uh, even as a kid, less than adult, but more as a kid, I had this obsession with Mask, and I presented you with Slenderman. Maybe using this to tell a horror story, but you've been hearing talking about Mask. I got a tattoo about a mask right here. And yeah, Mask were such a and I know I made a video like this before, but I want to redo another one because masks are so were so important in my life, and I feel like this song though, Baby Rexa, I'm a mess, I'm a loving in you. I'm obsessed, I'm embarrassed, I don't want no run around us. Who's us? I don't know. So yeah, so Mask were primordial. When you think about ink, when you think about Young Ink, you think about Mask. Now, there's a couple of reasons as to why. There's a couple of reasons, and this is gonna be one of my favorite videos to make today. I thought that we were saying one of my favorite videos to make today, which points out how many videos we do every single freaking day. Try to swear less because my mom, she's been watching my video lately. I don't like to see my baby swear, and I love my mom, so I'll make an effort. We just ate some spicy pepperoni. So as a kid, you guys know I grew up with this certain with a lot of lack of confidence. I grew up with wait a second. This is a thumbnail before I forget. And that lack of confidence. See, I was living in a dichotomy. I was living in two worlds. I had my parents who were telling me, "You're amazing. You're special. You're the best," which I'm very grateful for. And I went to school, and I was like, "No, you're ugly. You're small. You're not the strongest. There's nothing about you that is special." You put back the song again. And I was living with those two reality. Now, I believe. You see, in my life, I always thought about how we live in a duality. There's no good. There's just evil, right? And all my life, I was like there's no way. There's no evil. There's no good. There has to be a winner. There has to be. And it's funny because I'm not competitive. So where did that need for a winner came from? I don't know, but I wanted a force to be on top. I didn't care if it was evil. I didn't care if it was good, as long as there was a force I could follow, because I'm a follower, not a leader, right? And I had such a I had at home, I was this paradise, this bubble, right? This bubble would protect me. And I would go home, I would go to work, to school, and it wasn't a bubble, it was straight life. And I was born in the 90s. I just watched a movie called Black Phone, and you saw how the kids in the 70s and 80s were badasses. The 90s were softer, but not that soft, right? And as a kid, I was very. It's funny because I was a kid who, like an adult, talks a lot, but nothing of value. And I wasn't the most popular, so I ended up being alone often. Now, luckily, I had this very special kind of imagination, right? I had a strict father, and that strict father was like, "No, you need to be in the real life." My imagination wasn't good enough for me to be like, "Holy shit, I'm in this made up world. I have imaginary friends. I'm in this paradise. I'm in this knight protecting the queen, protecting the princess." I wasn't, "Oh, you're a wizard and you cast spell." I didn't think about that because all I thought about was games, movie, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and luckily enough, my imagination was feeding off of them, and was feeding off of those amazing characters. Even in my early teenage year, I start talking about Naruto, I start talking about Bleach, I start talking about One Piece, which were huge back then. We're talking about 2011, 2012, right? That was huge. Even talk about Fairy Tail, and I had those characters that were a hero. I related to Naruto because he was like a reject, right? He was a loser, and I was like, "Holy shit, this is such an amazing character." And I don't remember a time where I imagined myself being somebody else. However, I look up to people who weren't real, who didn't exist, and to a certain degree, this is kind of like imaginary friends, right? And yeah, it's like imaginary friends, and it's weird because those people weren't real, and I knew that. And then I played this game, right? And that game, one of my favorite game ever. It's gonna come together. Don't worry, all of this is gonna come together. And it's nuts. I played this game called Zelda Ocarina of Time, and it was possibly one of the best game I've played on the 64. My father didn't cut me out of 64 till PS3, which if you do the math, that's how about 12 years, 12, 15 years. And I was playing on the 64, and I played a lot. And Ocarina of Time was this game that I kept coming back to because it was clearly the best game that I had. I had that and the Donkey Kong 64, who were both games that were amazing. Now, see, this Ocarina of Time, I didn't know the story, right? So when came the sequel, which is Majora's Mask, I didn't know it, right? Then I grew up and I became a young adult. I became, I had 16, 17 years old. I was before the PS5, PS3, so I want to say 2009, 2010, and I was obsessed with Majora's Mask. When I grew up and I finally understood what they were talking about, and it was insane because my father, for Christmas, bought me a PS3, but that PS3 was only a weapon to punish me. If you don't do good, I'm gonna take away the PS3. And the funny part is, I was so used to the PS3 being taken away, being confiscated, that I used to play the Nintendo 64, and I was like, okay, take it, I don't care. And yeah, those games really made me change. And the reason why we got masked, well, in Majora's Mask, right, there's this fun part where you learn mask, you become different races. There's this fun part where you wear masks and get different reaction from people. But most of all, those masks are giving to you as requests. And those quests are long enough, a long quest. And those quests give you the mask, and I just realized how much I related to, and I didn't know why I related to that. And then I realized that as a kid, although I wasn't good enough to imagine myself being a character, I would wear a mask as a character. I would talk about them as if I was them. It's fun. It's amazing. If you talk about, even as a kid, if you talk about a crazy enough person, right? You know, my real name is Stefan, okay? So let's say Stefan talks about Ink Vendetta, and he calls Ink E. Oh, he did that, he did this. And then you realize that you're the same person, but instead of saying I, or me, or myself, you're saying him, and you're like, why? Because there's a dissociation, but you're still the same person. So with those masks, I was able to do exactly that. I was obsessed with masks because I was able to be whoever I wanted. And I think I latched onto those characters because I didn't like who I wanted, who I was. I think I latched onto this character because I wanted to be more like them, right? I had a father. My father was, my mom and my father was amazing. My mom, she only had me 2 days out of 14. So she wasn't really a force when it came to influence, sadly. But my father was a great man. My father was a great man, but we were so different. My father was a man of work, right? And it's actually a deep story. My father was a man of work, and I wasn't. And my father was respected. You could see in the streets, he would get recognized. He would get say hi to. And I was this shy kid. Well, mostly because I was under a shit metric ton of Concerta, Ritalin, so ADHD medication, right? And my father was this force to be reckoned with, and I was this shadow, you know? But usually when you see that, it's cool, because when you see a father and a son being the shadow, usually the son follows in the father's footsteps. But in my case, I was doing everything I could not to follow the father's footsteps. Not because I didn't think they were good footsteps, not because I didn't think my father was worth being replicated, but because I knew it wasn't my way. My father wasn't really emotional. My mom was really emotional. My father wasn't. And as a kid, I think even with Mask, which I was still talking about Mask, as a kid, I would relate to my mom on certain points, the good kind of points, and I would relate to my father at certain kind of points. And at the end, I was in the middle. I was halfway here, halfway there. I was going nowhere and fast. And it just pushed me into a direction of, okay, well, what am I supposed to do here? And mask became a obsession. Mask became a obsession because, first of all, masks were the face, right? And I believe, and I still believe to this day, that ends, they're nice, body, they're nice, can work it out, but your face is you. People won't recognize your fingers, they won't recognize your hand, they won't recognize your elbow, they won't recognize your arm, they won't recognize your forearm, they won't recognize your shoulder, they won't recognize your chest or back, right? They recognize your height, your weight, but muscle, no. But face, they will recognize you, right? So there was a power in the face, and I was in a position where, and it's crazy, it's crazy. I want to show you something, right? And this is the mind. This is the mind of an ADHD kid. Okay, so if you see this tattoo, right? That was not the plan today, but let's do it. This is Majora's Mask, right? This is Majora's Mask, and you got a wolf. Now the reason why we did the wolf is because the wolf is my favorite animal, and everybody was getting tribal tattoos. So I'm like, yo, let's get a wolf. But even if you look at it, the wolf, it's like it's howling at the moon. When in reality, I never thought about that. I never even thought about it. So why am I talking about this? When I'm talking about mask, is because in a way, I recognize mask as a way of being someone else. If I could change my face, if I can change my face, I could change the person I was. Now, again, I know nowadays it's not, and that's why masks aren't as important to me anymore. However, as a kid, I believed that. Now, I was obsessed with math as a kid. Obsessed. They were characters, they were a fictional character, right? Who gives a shit? Until one day, I went to the circus. And in Montreal, maybe you heard of it, the Cirque Soleil. Cirque Soleil. And they had a show called Dragona. And everybody was wearing masks. I knew there was people behind it, but I was like, holy shit, this is so cool. As an adult, I realized that even if you wear different faces, even if you wear different clothes, even if you're getting tattooed, even if you're gaining weight, you're losing weight, you're appearing taller, you gain muscle, no matter how much you change your appearance, we are inside still the same, no matter your color, your race, your age, right? And I realized that now. However, one person cannot really give away an obsession. I can't just forgo that. I cannot just forego the expression, that obsession. See, it's more so when I do video games, but I do recaps of characters. So I'm going to be looking at how the character is, and I'm going to be talking about this character. And I do this with anime also. But I understand that masks are used to convey different things. I have a mask at home. I think it's closed. Let me get it. I'm gonna be the beat alright. Everything's gonna be just fine. It's gonna be a good night. I wanna be next. I'm a user. Next for your loving you. I'm obsessed. I'm embarrassed. I don't want the one around us. Yes, we found it. So this, I did a video about it, about Vendetta, and this mask is also supposed to represent something. And that mask is from a game called Overwatch. Not Overwatch, sorry, Watch Dogs. And there's a second one. And this guy is one of my favorite characters in every single game related. It's Anarchy. And why I love this character so much, it's very, very simple. You see how cheap it is? See, it's supposed to light up. Maybe if I push long enough. But here you go. My neighbor's gonna be watching, but who gives a shit? See? Now, face is too big for this. But this, what it represents, is super cool. Is this character that is going against the system, going anarchy, and he's hacking things, and he is like this criminal who's following a certain code of moral, and he wants to get information. And why you like him is because when you get to know him, he's really nice. And then yeah, the second mask, that is Slenderman. Now, If you don't know, today is the 2nd of October. There you go. Doesn't it look good? Harder to take out than I thought. Harder to take out than I thought. Holy shit. That's Slenderman. And even just wearing them, just looking at them, you imagine these characters. No, this was made to be a when I go against system. And then I was like, when I bought the Vendetta mask, it was I was following a code. I was following a certain sense of moral. I was in a bad position at work. I was in a bad position at home. I was like, okay, let's fuck it up. And when I'm doing the Slender, is because we're gonna be doing some Halloween story. So the power of mask, and it's amazing. Because we made a video, and that video was using different camera to portray a different perception. But then again, the mask or the face that I'm wearing gonna portray an expression. In a society ruled by looks, what if you could become which one you want? It'd be cool. Anywho, that's a passion that is crazy, but that's me. And I love you guys. Take it easy. Peace.